South Point is also proud to provide a variety of relaxing amenities for the guests who want to be pampered. Soak up the sun and let your stress melt away in our lagoon-style paradise swimming pool. A relaxing getaway where you can bask in the desert sun and enjoy seasonal food and bar service poolside. And if you really want to escape, come to Spa Costa del Sur. From couple suites to a co-ed wet area, our spa caters to business and leisure travelers who want to unwind and elevate their senses. A visit to one of our spa's steam, sauna, or whirlpool treatment rooms will leave any guest feeling like they can take on the world. Our gaming amenities include over 60 table games and over 2,600 of the most popular slot and video poker machines. We have penny slots, including the popular Buffalo games, and real machines like Wheel of Fortune, Triple Sevens, and Megabucks. If you prefer video poker, try Deuces Wild, Double Double Bonus, or a variety of multi-denomination games. Or try your hand at one of the most popular casino table games in the world, Blackjack. Don't let the game intimidate you. Blackjack, also known as 21, is both easy and fun. And our dealers are always happy to assist. And the best part? Blackjack always pays 3 to 2. Next, check out the roulette tables. Roulette is one of the easiest casino games to learn, and so much fun to play. It's a favorite of both beginners and seasoned players. In addition to blackjack and roulette, our casino pit features over 60 popular table games like Baccarat, Pai Gow Poker, 3-Card Poker, Ultimate Texas Hold'em, and Mississippi Stud. So get out of your room and come join in the fun.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome in. This is Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio. I'm Alex White alongside Kenny White. A little bit of a program change for the week. Just want to make sure that everybody knows the hours. We will be back here 9 a.m. again tomorrow morning, but our Football Frenzy special with the bookmakers, Jeff Parles will host with Chris Andrews and Vinny, and Jimmy will absolutely be stopping in tomorrow, Wednesday at 2 p.m. So make sure you mark that down and you set your calendar, because they will go through all the games for Thanksgiving weekend, the games on Thursday in the NFL. We have a Friday special with the Chiefs and the Raiders, and they will go through college games, a lot of college games this Friday as well. I'm looking forward to that. Jeff and I will be back Friday morning, 9 a.m. to talk about all those Friday games for college football and, of course, the NFL. And then Saturday, normal time, 8 a.m. And then Sunday, normal time, 9 a.m. Normal programming starting next week. And Punchlines will be back next Monday. If you have missed Frank Nicotero and company, back next Monday at 12 p.m. So that is it for the program scheduling. I also need to talk about the college rivalry jackpot parlay. $5. You just have to pick the winner straight up. Guaranteed $25,000. However many people put a card in, though, if it is above that $25,000 and there's only one winner, you will get all of that money. Winner takes all. Of course, if there is a tie, so if you go 14-1 with some other people, you will split the jackpot there. So a lot of fun. First year ever doing this. And if you've been coming to the South Point or the Rampart, you know they do this every year. First week of NFL, it is a winner take all. Just pick the winners. And now they have added it to college football. So that is a lot of fun. A lot of things happening in college football. There is a show tonight. Make sure you tune into that for the playoffs. We'll see where they move people or move teams around after this past weekend with a lot of upsets. Let's get right into it. We've got a lot going on today. We've got to talk about today's action. 5 NBA games on the board. Some good college basketball games. Maui Invitational. Crazy upsets yesterday. UConn goes down and Iowa State loses to Auburn with a crazy comeback. Couple NHL games on the board today. We have 2 of them. We will go through those. 2 MAC games in college football. Speaking of NHL, hopefully you took the Grand Salami over. Wow, a lot of goals yesterday on the ice. First, let's go through our boards. So we've been doing these whiteboards, giving you our top plays Monday through Wednesday. You've been very successful with your whiteboard so far, and you had another great day yesterday. What was your record?
Well, good morning, Alex. And yeah, the whiteboard is up. This is yesterday. Showed it at the end of the show. This is what I wanted to do. And we got to continue to do this. And for some reason, it's working out well for me. 4-0 last Monday or Tuesday that we did it for the first day. I was so glad when you got these boards. But last night, 5-1. That's if I did the math right, I think that's 9-1 with the board. So I got to keep it going. Thanks.
You were 2-1,
Ryan.
2-1 last Wednesday. We had a guest, which we were very grateful to have Curtis Terry in here to talk college basketball and NBA with us. We didn't get to do our boards. We tweeted them out. You were also 2-1 that day.
Oh, so 11-2.
11-2, okay. Not bad at all. I went 1-1 in my hockey. I said I did not want to force any. And I did a little bit. So this is how hockey goes, right? I lost from an empty net goal and I won from an empty net goal on my 2 plays there. So could have went either way. Could have been a 2-0 or an 0-2 day. But happy just to break even on that.
Sports betting.
So you've got your board clean. We're ready to fill it out for today. We'll start with some MAC games and see if you like anything in either of those games. Is that okay? We'll start there.
Yeah, that is good. I'm going to pull my numbers up. I know you did my show this morning. Thank you. It's always a nice day off for me.
I will just recap really quick because 2 of those plays were from Monday Night Football. You did have the Ravens minus
3 of the plays.
3 of the plays.
Ravens minus 2.5.
Over. Barely got there, but you got there. Thank you.
Justin Herbert over 19.5 rushing yards. It was almost over at halftime.
Yes.
I just had a feeling, and it's so this is sports.
Here's our lesson.
Yes. That you said yesterday, the Ravens were number 32 in the league against the passing game, passing yards allowed. Number 32, the worst in football. What happened last night? You got one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL, and he threw for less than 200 yards or right around 200 yards. Yeah. What? Why?
Quentin Johnson dropped...
He dropped several passes?
Yes, he did.
Well, that happens too. And that's why unders are so much better than overs because so many things can happen. But the lesson is, I said yesterday, I have the Ravens defense ranked 15th in the NFL, and that's overall defense. So maybe their run defense is 10th and their pass defense is 20th somewhere in my ratings. I should break that down, run and pass. And I do. And when I individually rate each player, I give them a run defense and a pass defense rating. So I should look at that more often and maybe even rank those. But again, when you're handicapping, there's no way the Ravens have the 32nd pass defense. No. They may have allowed the most yards right now, but you know what? When they have a winning record and they've got a big lead in games, you're going to give up a lot of passing yards late in games that are garbage yards too.
Well, and they've gotten in trouble a few times. I mean, there's been fourth quarters where they've let teams hang around and it's, the Raiders, week 2, actually hung around enough to get the win, but they're almost taking a page out of the Chiefs' book here. It's regular season right now, right? They don't need to have lockdown defense and be number 1 in every category. But if they know how to turn it on and when the lights turn on, that was a big game. It looked like the Chargers were not ready for that big moment. The Ravens have been there multiple times, and they were.
I will say this. I don't think that this defense will ever be locked down and be a superior defense. If they were, they would be up there because we do see those great defenses play great from the beginning of the year to the end of the year a lot of times. And if they stay healthy, they can do that. But so a defense like this, and I have them ranked 15th, they're an average defense. I think they're a little better than that though, but they're maybe the 10th best defense in the league.
Ooh.
And then there's not a big difference for me like I say, from the top team to the bottom team. There isn't a great difference. So in my power ratings on my defensive rating, if the Ravens improve 1.5 points off last night's game, I might look today and they might be the 9th best defense in the NFL or 7th best defense in the NFL just from that small improvement. Because from number 4 to number 15 or 16 is probably only 1.5 points.
Yes. It's very interesting. It is. The NFL is like that. It is that tight. Even when you are looking from 1 to 32 with how many passing yards they are giving up, right? And they can move very, very quickly.
Yeah, and I think that, I've talked about that forever, and I've just never had the right programmer to do it. I may now and go back and do this, but if you take out the garbage yards, the passing yards the other team gets, if you take out all yards allowed, all plays allowed, if you're up 14 or more in the fourth quarter, you'd probably get a much better statistic than you would using the entire game. And, you said yesterday about Herbert looking at his last 5 games. They have thrown much more. They've been much better, and they've put up a lot of yards. And that just looked like an easy bet over, but I didn't want to do that.
No.
Because I know that the numbers are overinflated on passing yards, receiving yards, receptions, and all of the props are, even the rushing yards and the rushes and things like that are overinflated, but they're not as overinflated as the receiving stuff, so that you can get still good overs on rushing yards.
Even when I looked up his passing yards and I gave you the number, if it just seemed way too high. And you said his median was over that in the last 5 games, but small sample size too.
Right.
And I mean, it's hard because small sample size versus current form, but in that case, it was definitely better to go with the whole season.
Well, and you also get a game that it's Harbaugh versus Harbaugh, so it's a big matchup. There's a lot of intensity there, Like I said, you're going to get the A effort from both teams, and I pretty much believe you did. Maybe the Chargers were slightly below that, but I'm sure they still played extremely hard, effort-wise.
I mean, they're not there yet, right? And J.K. Dobbins did get hurt. We didn't see him in the second half. He's a huge part of their offense. They don't have the receiving core yet for Justin Herbert, but they're definitely on their way, and Jim has done a great job there.
It was so weird to go in and look at the box score, and I see J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards, and I'm going, wait a minute, they're on the Chargers now? They used to be on Baltimore. Both were on the Baltimore Ravens last year.
That's right. I forgot about that angle, too.
They're both now on the L.A. Chargers. So they were probably able to give a little bit of a scouting report. But it's amazing to see Lamar Jackson, 177 passing yards, and Justin Herbert, 218. That's why it's hard to go over. And when you go to the Westgate and let's say, or South Point, you're at South Point at Super Bowl time and they're about to put their props up. And the professionals that are betting them, if you were to stand there and listen, it's under, and they walk away, they'll say to you, man, I hope it's the most boring Super Bowl ever. That's what they want. And those happen. Those games happen. Sometimes they go flying over. But when they do, they still cash a lot of those tickets because there's a game, Baltimore and the Chargers, that went over, but both quarterbacks went under. They went under on almost all of their stats.
Patriots Rams comes to mind. I bet the professionals did pretty good on that.
I was over in that game. And that game was the one game that I know a guy that's a huge prop bettor and is a professional bettor. And I was doing some type of sports show. They asked me to come down to the Westgate to do a 15-minute slot. And as I'm walking out, the guy says to me, let's hope it's the most boringest football game ever. And I'm like, what? No, let's hope not. He's going, what? You like it over? I said, yeah, I think there'll be a lot of points scored. Nope. Bill Belichick locked that Ram offense down.
Another thing that just came to my mind when you were talking about the running backs that are now with the Chargers, it's funny. Big brother, John Harbaugh, was like, hey, I'm getting Derrick Henry. Jim, you want these two?
Right, yeah.
But I'm going to get Derrick Henry. So, but these two are pretty good.
Derrick Henry, 24 carries, 140 yards. He had a big run in the second half, 27-yard run. And Dobbins and Edwards, 15 carries, 51 yards combined.
Yes. I mean, Derrick Henry and Saquon Barkley, it's incredible to see the numbers that they're putting up. But let's get to some action here. We've got 2 games. So we're going to start with Kent State, who still has not gotten a win yet in this season. 0-11 on the year, playing at Buffalo. Pretty big underdog. I believe it's 23.5 now here at the South Point. The total 49.5. Are you going to make a case here for the dog trying to get their first win of the year?
Well, again, I'm going to look this over, and we know that they're going to be fighting hard, but I made the game 15, and I don't, I like to trim my favorites down, so I would take 3 points off this. Hold on, be back. I needed to grab my book. I didn't look and get this information for you, but I'm sure there's revenge, and there is.
There is revenge.
Buffalo won 24-6 last year at Kent State, and Kenny Burns was there. But Kenny Burns is a guy that was not ready for this job, and he is not doing well. 1-22 in his career. They have covered 3 of their last 6, so that shows that they played a little bit better. They were 0-5 ATS to start the year, but 3-3. Buffalo 2-5. Now Buffalo beat Ball State in the big game. The overtime, they went to overtime. It was Pete Lembo versus old team. So you try to get into these, and that's why I give you the. I'm trying to get to their page. Give you the. You want to see the schedule because you want to kind of look and see how the season is going for them. They're 5-2 in the MAC. I don't believe they can play in the conference championship.
No, they can't. There's 3 teams that are 6-1 with Miami, Ohio, and who am I missing?
Bowling Green.
Bowling Green.
Yep, Miami, Ohio, and Bowling Green. So I guess the only way they could get in is if all 3 of those teams lost. And I don't even know if they're playing. Ohio's probably playing Miami of Ohio this week. Not sure. I'll have to look at that. Ohio is Ball State. Oh, Miami. So one of those will have 2 losses. Somebody's in out of that game, is in the championship game, and then it'll be up to Ohio to beat Ball State, who's had a really bad year as well. Ball State's one of the weaker teams in the conference. So, and I like the way Ohio's playing. There must be a tiebreaker if Ohio loses to Ball State and Buffalo wins. There's going to be some type of tiebreaker. So we should probably read those over. Or anybody betting this game needs to know if Buffalo is dead and cannot get first place. I love Kent State because they're going to be trying to win the game. I mean, they are going to go out. Let's win this game. They don't care that they're 24-point underdogs. Let's go win the game. And if Buffalo could care less because they beat Ball State in that emotional battle, and I bet against them the next week against Eastern Michigan, and I lost that. They got crushed by Eastern Michigan.
You mean
they crushed Eastern Michigan? They crushed Eastern Michigan. And you know what? I looked back. Their quarterback, CJ Ugabana, has played great the last 5 games. 60% completions, 7.8 yards a pass, 11 touchdowns, 3 INTs. He's had a really good year, and he looked good. I watched that entire game. He just torched Eastern Michigan's defense, and that was a game that was supposed to be extremely windy. He wasn't throwing deep. He was throwing 15, 20-yard passes, but they were on the money, and he looked really good. And he's a redshirt senior, big kid, good, strong arm. But again, if they're not prepared for this and don't really care, they're playing Kent State, who hasn't won a game yet. Kent State's going to be in the game. So I'm taking the 24, and I'll take a little bit more if Buffalo doesn't need this game at all.
It's funny. I was watching that game too, Buffalo and Eastern Michigan. That's the one with Eastern Michigan has that weird field, right?
The gray turf.
The gray turf.
Yep.
But the announcers were talking because the special teams made a great play, and Peter Lembo went nuts on the side, and they're like, he's a special teams guy, and
yes.
You were talking about that the last couple of weeks. So I don't hate it at all. I was trying to make a case for Kent State last week to hang around in that one. They did not. They lost 38-17 to Akron, but getting 23.5 here last game of the season. Now the total's 49.5, and it was 48.5 when I first got here this morning. So there has been some action on the over. It did hit 50, and then that was the buyback point, and now it is sitting at 49.5. Small case for the over, but not a huge difference. And we kind of talked ourselves out of some overs last week with the MAC. We know a lot of these teams are definitely run first, and both of these, Kent State and Buffalo, are running over 57%.
So I just found out head-to-head tie is the tiebreaker. Buffalo has no chance. They lost to Ohio. And Ohio is the team that plays Ball State. So even if Ohio loses to Ball State, I shouldn't say that because if Ohio loses to Ball State and Buffalo wins, there's 3 teams that would be 6-2. It would come down to a 3-team tiebreaker. And I'm not seeing that here because these are new tiebreakers announced this year for the MAC because it is the first MAC history to match the 1 and 2 teams in an overall conference. They've had 2 divisions forever.
Which a lot of conferences now, we have to check that for this year.
One, yeah. I'm going to have to go to their website because if there is 3 teams tied,
But still, regardless, well, I guess you're right.
If Buffalo, it depends on, I guess, the loser of that, the other game. Miami of Ohio plays Bowling Green, and they have played neither one of those teams, Buffalo. They didn't play either one.
Nope.
So they would have the tiebreaker over Ohio, but if Ohio had beaten Miami of Ohio or Bowling Green, so there's got to be it can't be head to head if you didn't play one of them. So it'll come down to win percentage versus common opponents then.
Oh, gosh.
That's going to take a lot of work.
Yes.
I'll be here by Saturday if I have to do that.
And you have a lot of other sports to get to. So taking the 23 and a half.
I'm betting Kent State.
Okay.
No, I thought there was 24s out there, so I haven't bet it yet, but 24 I think was in the market. So.
24 at Circa.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, that's the only one. You're right. It's 22 and a half at a lot of places. 22 here at the South Point. What a big difference.
You're seeing 22. We're seeing 23 and a half.
Are you really?
It was 22. So yours might not have.
I may not have updated. I'll reload the Spank Odds screen and see if that does the trick. It probably will. It's surprising that Circa was at 24, but that might have been when my computer.
No, it looks like that is current right now, Circa.
When I was on Wi-Fi, off Wi-Fi, back on Wi-Fi, when I probably just was leaving a Wi-Fi spot, it turned to 24 at Circa, and then my Wi-Fi went off, and the other casinos didn't update. And there we go. It's updated. 23 and a half. So yeah, there are 24. Station has 24. And a couple of spots in the offshore DraftKings has 24. So yeah, I'll take 24 with Kent State here.
All right.
I think it's a meaningless game for Buffalo. I really do. They're going bowling. I just don't think they can play for the championship.
Let's go to the next game. And then I do want to hit NBA and NHL fairly quickly. We do have to get to NFL, our top 10. Nothing really crazy with the run and pass percentage, so we'll go through that quickly as well. But we do have an in-studio guest today as well, and that is Vegas Matty Proxy. He is going to join us, give us an update on all the contests going around in the city. So excited to get to talk with him, especially after if you are following the Survivor in NFL, and we talked about it yesterday. Somebody did not turn in their pick this week, and 33 lost on the Washington Commanders. That's a brutal loss. Okay, let's go to Toledo at Akron. Toledo minus 8.5 on the road. Total 49. I went back and looked. These two have not played each other since 2021. Toledo won that one at home. Nothing really you can use with that. They won 49-14, though. And, I mean, they are a much better football team, rated about average in college football in Akron. Only about a 90. So let's get into this one. We know both of these quarterbacks with Tucker Gleason for Toledo and Akron. Ben Finley, we have been talking about these for a couple weeks now. Anything in this one for you? I think those numbers are just right.
Yeah, mine are right on. I made Toledo 8.5 and 50, and I believe it's just a meaningless game. Toledo 7-4. They're already bowl eligible. 4-3 in the conference. They can't get to the conference championship game. And Akron 3-8. They're done for the year. This is their Super Bowl game, though, I would say, for Akron. If you're going to bet a side, and I'd rather bet a dog than a favorite here, and Ben Gleason, as I mentioned last week, it didn't have a huge difference in the power ratings between and I see I didn't change those ratings for you on these two teams. I didn't do a good job for you. That's for sure. I looked when I saw the ratings on there, or I didn't see the records for each team at the top. I thought, oh boy, I forgot to do that. And then I see these team rankings at the bottom. Oh, they could be right. No, they're right. I was thinking they were ratings. Akron 116 on offense, 124 on defense, 125 team. What fell off was their team rating, which is probably around a 90. They were playing Kent State last week, and I said, there's just a giant difference in these two quarterbacks in this game. And I think the better quarterback's going to win the game. And Ben Finley won the game. They won 38-17, and there were even in the turnover battle, which is amazing. So they came up with a very nice performance rating. They're at 92.5. I've had Toledo at 97.5 performance rating. This is at Akron, and again, last game of the year with a really good fifth-year quarterback that played at North Carolina State and Cal.
Yeah,
Tucker Gleason's coming back for Toledo. He'll be back next year. So and he's going to a bowl game. I think Ben Finley, this is his last college football game. I'll take the points with Akron too. Both dogs.
Not very impressive wins here in MAC play. I mean, they beat Kent State last week. That was their most recent game, and you said good performance rating. And then their only other win is Eastern Michigan, 25-21. So, I mean, you're going to need a very good performance here from Ben Finley and company. But what about Joe Moorhead? You
know, as I said, when we discovered Western Michigan, when Western Michigan was 4-0 and atop the standings, and I said, they haven't played anybody.
Yeah.
They played the 4 weakest teams in the conference. No wonder why they're 4-0, and they haven't won since because they're playing the good teams. Akron has played Ohio, Bowling Green, Western Michigan, who's still good, Eastern Michigan, Buffalo, Northern Illinois, and then they finally played a bad team in Kent, and they blew them out. They've been playing all good teams. So I think they can handle it. Toledo, and this is a rivalry game. These two are big rivals. I'll take the home dog. And again, it's their last game of the year. This is it. They're going to go out and play their hardest game. It's senior night. Toledo's got another game coming up in 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Okay, I don't hate it. That does make sense. And looking at their schedule, you are correct. Those are the top teams. We just talked about Ohio and Bowling Green both trying to play for the championship here.
They're 4-2 ATS their last 6 games. Toledo's 2-4 ATS their last 6 games. So I think they're going to be in it. And if they break even on the turnover battle, they got a good chance to win it. And, they could too, because Toledo has been a turnover machine this year. They've had 2 games where they won the turnover battle big. First game of the year against Duquesne by 3. Their next to last game against Central Michigan by 5. Other than that, -2, -1, -2, -2, -1, -1. A lot of games they lost the turnover battle in.
Okay, that's it for college football for today on this Tuesday. Can we go to some NBA? We have 5 games on the board, NBA Cup. I have
Is Vegas Maddie here yet?
The standings out for you for both East and West. Right now, what we're looking at with East Group 1, Orlando Magic leads with the Knicks right behind them. Both of them are 2-0. Sixers.
Ryan playing solo back there?
Andrew's back there too.
Oh, Andrew's back there. Oh, hey, hi, Andrew.
Andrew, or Drew Dog is his nickname here. But
what is it?
Drew Dog.
Oh, Drew Dog. Oh,
yes.
Drew Dog.
He's writing that down.
I'm gonna give him a rating.
Oh my gosh.
Drew
Okay.
Dog is a 7.5. That 8. All right. Here we go. What do you want to do at NBA?
NBA.
Are
yes.
you sure?
Yeah.
You just want to call it a day? It's Thanksgiving week.
No.
All right, we'll do NBA. No, it is.
There's 2 games I'm very intrigued with, and I'm curious what your numbers are.
I have my numbers. Except for we do need to check injuries, as always.
All right, well, let's start right there at the top. So we'll start. Let me go to Chicago now. Let me go to their grouping here. They are East Group C. Chicago Bulls 1-1. Cavs are 1-1. We know they lost to Boston. Boston and the Hawks are leading that group, both 2-1, and Washington 0-2. So here we have Chicago Bulls laying 4.5 on the road at Washington. Washington, again, has not won a game yet in this in-season tournament. Total 244.5.
All right, so I would believe Washington is out with 2 losses already. They have no chance. Injuries in this game. Jordan Poole's questionable, but I was really surprised when I looked at my ratings that he's only worth about a point. He just has not played. Jordan Poole was with the Warriors when they won when they won the title, and he was amazing. He was starting for that team. He wanted to be more of a superstar, and he got traded away to Washington, and I don't believe he has become that superstar. I have the Bulls 4.5 and a total of 238.
So a little bit of a lean to the under here. It's 244.5. And remember Jordan Poole, that he didn't get along with Draymond Green and that whole thing. So
true.
That's part of the reason why he was traded away.
Well, you got to get along with Draymond.
If you want to stay in Golden State.
Yeah. Because Golden State loves him. He does so many things, and he's such a team player, so I don't know how he didn't get along, but personalities don't mix sometimes. I think that's worth looking at that number. it is. I know because Washington scores a lot, but Washington I think has played a lot of fast teams too. So I think it's a little too high for a tournament game where the Bulls are trying to get a win here. It could go over. I don't think it's worth a lot, but maybe a 1% play on the under.
Okay. Not necessarily making the board, though. Let's go to Milwaukee and Miami. Here's one of the games that I am intrigued by. We've got the Heat -2.5 at home, the total 223. Checking in on their group, the Bucks are leading right now. Well, they're tied with the Pistons. Both of them are 2-0, and the Heat come into this game 1-1 so far in their in-season tournament games. They're starting to really click, Miami, just like they do in the postseason of, the whole full season here. So is Miami Heat -2.5 a good play in this one?
Yeah, well, I made the Heat 1.
Okay.
So I don't have a play on that, but I only made this total 214. And again, at 2-0, 1-1, this is such a big matchup for both teams. Love it under, and this one will probably make the board under 214, Miami, Milwaukee.
Under 223, because that's your number, yeah.
Yeah, mine's 214. I better take those 9 extra points.
I do like it. The only thing you have to worry about is Giannis just going off, as we have seen.
The the Miami Heat, I really doubt it. I mean, they're just such a good organization. They play solid defense.
So, and it's a lean to taking the points there. And I was trying to make a case for the Heat at 1-1, but I mean, I could have made a case for the Bucks trying to stay undefeated right now in the in-season tournament, getting 2.5 points.
They definitely want to. There's no doubt. I mean, that's why I love this league now because of this tournament. When you know you're going to get the best effort out of these teams, that's when you want to bet the games. That's why everybody loves to bet the playoffs too in the NBA. Because the regular season, it's been for 40 years. People have said, regular season NBA, you don't watch it till 2 minutes to go in the game.
Right. And it is very true. So more of a play to the under there in that one. Let's go to Houston and Minnesota. We've got Timberwolves -4 at home, total 220. Checking in on this grouping. Houston's leading right now, and you liked them. They were in your top 10 2 weeks ago. And
top 10, they're one of the top 3.
Yeah, and now they've just kept getting better and better. Houston Rockets 2-0 right now in Group A of the West. Minnesota 1-1. Any differences from your numbers in this one?
Well, yeah, I'm going to have to make an adjustment here on mine. I know that there's a mistake on my sheet, and I haven't sent it out yet because I haven't gone through and done all of the work I need to do. But I believe that I have an Edwards out number, but he's not in my notes, so I couldn't. But I know Minnesota's at a much better rating than what I have on there. So let's pass that one for now. And I will come back. I can research it really quick and make that adjustment for you.
Okay, one of our favorite teams here, San Antonio. They are 1-1 in Group B, going to Utah. The Jazz 0-2 so far in the in-season tournament. San Antonio just laying 2.5 on the road, total 226.5.
So we are doing another game, aren't we?
Two more. This is second to last one.
You know that I've had a good rating on the Spurs all year. That I really love this basketball team, and they are 6.5 points better than Utah. And when I've got that big of a gap, I take 1.5 off. So I for home court, I have Spurs 2.5 point favorite.
Okay.
221.5.
Okay.
And so that's with Wemby. I know he returned the last game. I was glad to see that, and they won without him a game.
Well, how about Stephon Castle? He's been really good in the league so far. Made that transition. He coming up from UConn.
Oh, and we got Clarkson still out and Filipowski's now out, but Walker Kessler coming back for the Jazz. I think that's all about a wash. So, again, my total 221.5. I definitely have an underplay there, under 226.5. That's at a 1% play. I don't know if that'll make the board or not.
All right, one more big West matchup. We've got the Lakers in Phoenix. The Sun -2, total 234.5. Looking at them right now, Lakers, of course, 2-0 in the in-season tournament, and Phoenix Suns just 1-1. Anything for you in this one? I don't think there's any new news, right? Just KD is still out. AD a game time decision?
Yeah,
Checking.
and such a big number for him. I want to check Bradley Beal. I think he's back in the lineup. As you said, nope. KD is playing.
Wow.
He is probable, so I definitely have to adjust my number there. Let me run that real quick. And I did get my number on Minnesota. We can go back to that. I still think Houston's the far better basketball team. I'm going to make Houston a 1.5 point favorite. And 206.5 the Minnesota game. So I'm sure that is going to be an underplay.
Yeah, it's 220.
So I like Houston plus the 4 and under 222.
All right. I do like both of those as well.
Big game. Well, you were nice enough to print the standings out. So Houston 2-0, Minnesota 1-1. This is a must win for Minnesota Timberwolves. And obviously Houston, if they win, they probably clinch the West Group A, or at least maybe put themselves in a shot for a wild card slot. So yeah, I like Houston. I love the way they're playing. Jalen Green is questionable, but he'll play. Mike Conley questionable for Minnesota. He missed the last game for the Timberwolves. All right, Lakers got to make the change now that Durant is back. Is that amazing? I mean, I think he was supposed to be out longer than this.
I thought so too.
But maybe the in-season tournament brings the best out of you rehabbing and getting back faster. That's 4.5 points to their power rating.
That does make sense why they are the favorite. It's got to
I
be
think
a
they should
KD
be
number
3 and 239.
So you actually have a little bit of an over in that one. Water. That's okay. We'll take a quick break because we've got 10 minutes. So we're going to take a 1-minute break. We're going to come back, check in on our NFL numbers quickly, because then in 15 minutes or so, we've got Vegas Maddie joining us here on Sports by the Book. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back, everybody. Just checking in with the chat. I appreciate everybody in there. Michael A., Vince, of course, Ryan, Jerry, Bob, Aviation Mike. Welcome. If you are new, we appreciate you. Damien is in there again. And please remember, if you would like any games requested for tomorrow, please put them in the chat, because Vince will be keeping those for us so we can go over them tomorrow. You don't have to request South Carolina and Clemson. I have already requested that one. You did get a shout out earlier too. Dean Hilt said USC cash. Thank you for that from last week when we did go over that game against UCLA. We were pretty fortunate, but I did like that play as well, and we did get there. I kind of want to go over USC again tomorrow because they are playing Notre Dame, so maybe we can add that to the list. If you have any recommendations, please put them in the chat. We really appreciate you guys jumping in. Vince said VGK with the win, and they did get that overtime win. That was a good one for them, and people have noticed you're bored, so that's good. Come back, make sure you check out the show, and you get all of Kenny White's plays by the end of the show each and every day. We're going to move to some NFL. We've got some updates here. We've got our top 10. We've got top 10 run and top 10 pass. I will just say we'll start off with the run-heavy teams. Not much change here in this one. The Eagles stay at number 1 with their star running back Saquon Barkley. Steelers at number 2, 52%. The Lions are tied with them right there with their two-headed monster. The Ravens, number 4, with Derrick Henry, as we talked about. Green Bay Packers move up on this list, now tied there with the Ravens. They looked good this weekend. Josh Jacobs there in a Packers uniform had 2 touchdowns for Green Bay in that big win over the Niners. And then 6 through 10 is very close here, 47%, and 10 is 46%. So Washington Commanders, Chargers, Arizona Cardinals, Minnesota Vikings, all there 6 through 9. And number 10, San Francisco and the New Orleans Saints tied at 10. 6 through 9 right there. I mean, Washington going through a little bit of a tough patch, lost 3 in a row now, I believe. But the rest of these teams, I mean, looking at even those lower 6 through 10 are still winning teams, have a winning record. Teams we want to be betting on right there, those 10.
Yeah, well, it's important, in this day and age, running it 52% of the time is a well-balanced offense. So,
yes.
Used to be 50-50. 20 years ago, it was 60% run was the average for the entire league. Everybody averaged that. You want to be balanced, and the teams that are not on that list are throwing the ball way too much.
I will just say that ATS is not updated, so please don't. I need to update that with the numbers there for what those teams are, but we know it is above 500 because most of those teams have not even moved, so it would slightly move from last week. But let's go to pass heavy. This one, I have to tell you, the Las Vegas Raiders made a huge jump. They were 5th last week, and now they jumped up all the way to take the number 1 spot. The Raiders, 66%. Now, no Minshew in. Think they're going to Desmond Ridder, waiting for O'Connell to come back there, but still cannot get that run game going. Dallas Cowboys, number 2, 65%. Cleveland Browns, 64%. Seahawks, 64%. Big win for them over their division rival in the Arizona Cardinals. The Jets, number 5. Cincinnati Bengals, number 6. Rams, number 7 at 60%. Jaguars and Giants at 59%. Carolina, Houston, New England, and Tampa Bay all at 56%. So that is very close to those other. I mean, they're starting to meet right there in the middle. Passing 68, is that the right number? And then, it's not that big of a difference, just like we were talking about in the NFL with these numbers.
Yeah, those are just really high pass numbers. Those teams are really throwing the ball.
I mean, 1 through 5, yes.
Yeah.
And even, I guess, all the way to 59.
Yeah, I think, those are, they're throwing it 6 out of 10 plays. So, I think it should be more well-balanced and be able to run the football. And those teams right there, they've shown this year they have not been able to run the football. And it's been a really bad year for most of those teams.
Yes. And going from pass happy, we'll go to pace of play. We'll go to the quickest pace of play because that is correlated. If you want to run through these, some of them are similar to those pass happy, but some of them, just like you said yesterday, some of them just play up tempo. And that's their style. Yeah,
there's not a lot of real up-tempo teams now in the NFL, not like the Bills were back in the day, and even the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning. The no huddle offense that they ran was great because Peyton ran the team. He was the offensive coordinator, and you got an offensive coordinator on the field. Wow, how important that is. But they were probably 22 seconds in that range. And now we're looking at the fastest team at 26.6, the Dallas Cowboys. Colts still there. They playing fast, 27.1. Seattle, 27.7. The Raiders, 27.9. Atlanta, 28. They've been a real disappointment to me. The Jaguars, 28.3. Rams, 28.3. Commanders, 28.4 seconds. The Saints, 28.6, tied with the Browns.
Going to the slowest teams, I had to write down because we do have a note in here, and Bob Custer did ask if we liked a same-game teaser for NFL this week with the Lions, so I'll mark that down so we can go over that tomorrow as well. Slowest pace of play, if you want to run through this, starting with the Tennessee Titans.
And they've been slow all year, 31.7. That's their game plan. And, I think you'll see Tennessee improve. I said that earlier this year because I think the offensive line was one of the worst in the NFL to start the year, but I believe they'll be one of the better ones by the end of the year. Wow. And that's going to be really important when that happens. they're going to start winning some games in the trenches. 49ers been very methodical all year long. Chargers with Jim Harbaugh. Minnesota Vikings have taken their time on offense. Green Bay. Detroit Lions, kind of surprising. I feel like the Lions should be an up-tempo team. They're just so efficient and can score in so many different ways. But they are the 6th slowest team. Tampa Bay, number 7. Baltimore, 8. Tied with the Steelers, both at 30.1, and then the Buffalo Bills, 30 seconds. But a lot of successful teams on that board right there.
Curious to see where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers made it in your list going into this week, because they were a little bit lower last week, but they had another big, pretty impressive. I mean, the Giants are what the Giants are at this point, but still, I mean, the Tampa Bay, after a week's day rest, looked pretty good. Do you need your top 10?
I thought did you print me one out?
I sure did.
I thought you already gave it to me.
I will start off, though, with my top 10. We'll end with yours, since we're trusting your numbers more than mine here. Let's go. I'll start making it to the top 10. I do have a tie here with Tampa Bay Buccaneers sneak in there, and the Denver Broncos have entered the chat in my top 10 now. Tied at 8, Minnesota Vikings and the Los Angeles Chargers. No real movement there. Chargers were tied with some teams above them, but now they are sitting there at 8. At number 6, Pittsburgh Steelers, no movement there, but tied with them now is the Green Bay Packers. They made a pretty big jump in my top 10. At number 4, Philadelphia Eagles and Kansas City Chiefs, just half a point below the Buffalo Bills. At number 3, number 2, the Baltimore Ravens, and number 1, the Detroit Lions, which I've had those 3 right there the last couple weeks. The Chiefs might have been tied with the Bills last week, but fall just half a point.
Okay. Mine is go from the bottom. 3 teams tied for number 10. Washington Commanders had a good year, but as you said, they've kind of hit a little bit of a rough patch now. Jalen Daniels' stats are nowhere near what they were early in the season. The Dolphins at number 10 and the San Francisco 49ers at number 10. That's a Brock Purdy out number, and he's worth 4 points, so big drop there because of the quarterback. I have the Denver Broncos at number 9. They have made it into my top 10, and it's a team that I felt like I may have had a little underrated at the beginning of the year. They just didn't have the talent. I didn't think the roster was that great, but good coaching and good quarterback play out of a rookie has made the difference there. I have the Chargers number 8, Bengals number 7, Green Bay Packers number 6, Buffalo number 5. And amazing, I don't have any ties here. They're all like a half a point difference until now we take a little bigger leap of 2.5 points up to the Philadelphia Eagles. And my top 4, I really feel like separate the NFL. The Eagles 4, the Chiefs number 3, Baltimore Ravens number 2, and the Detroit Lions are number 1 with a 111 rating, even without their star defensive player, Aiden Hutchinson.
It's amazing, too. Look at how those just separated out. You have 2 AFC and 2 NFC right there in your top 4.
And not done by design. That's just, I adjust them to what I see and how I feel the team is playing. And that's will work out very nice for the NFL if that's the championship games. Baltimore versus Kansas City. Baltimore would have that double revenge factor, and Detroit versus Philly would be a great game.
Do you think they will use Derrick Henry and try and run the ball against the Chiefs? That's the important question.
No doubt they will. You have Derrick Henry, you have to try to run the football.
Do you want to? Who's your 4-way tie again for 10? Before I go through mine one more time, because I was a little bit quick there. I just want to, so we can flash up.
Washington Commanders, Miami Dolphins, and San Francisco 49ers. Now, the 49ers have a reason to be down there because of Brock Purdy. If he was in there, I would have the 49ers the 5th best team right now. And again, remember, I don't mind going back and saying it. They are the highest rated team I've ever rated in the NFL to begin the season. They had more talent than any NFL team has ever had. And I said, yeah, Brock Purdy's going to have the same year as he had last year. He doesn't have to play better.
Yeah.
Just have the same year as you had last year because you have so much talent around you. But they've had injuries from day one, and this team has been beaten up. If they get healthy at the right time in December, they could be a team with a lot of value.
It's interesting. Okay, yes, the Niners have gone through so much. CMC, I mean, they missed him for how many weeks and then lose Brandon Ayuk, so just injury after injury. It's interesting that Miami did make it close to your top 10 or tied at 10 now. So I'm curious on your thoughts. We'll have to talk about the Packers in that
number
game.
10. Three-way tie. Washington, Miami, and San Francisco are all number 10.
And the Niners with Brock Purdy in 2, I think they would fall right there at 6 for me with the Packers and the Steelers. But there are our top 10s.
Four-way tie. I forgot Minnesota.
I saw.
You're right. Minnesota.
Yeah, I thought so.
I have a four-way tie for 10th. Minnesota's a 103 rating. Pittsburgh is number 14 because of those 3 teams. And again, that's the talent in the NFL. Pittsburgh, I have a 102.5 rating. If they improve 2 points this week, they'd be tied for 7th best in the NFL.
Wow.
With Cincinnati. So that it's so close. From number 5 to number 20, there's a 4.5 point difference. So Houston playing Buffalo on a neutral. Buffalo's a 4.5 point favorite.
Wow.
That's the parity of the NFL.
Yes. Interesting. I have Cincinnati 102 and Pittsburgh 104. So we've got basically opposite for those two. We made Ryan work really hard there, switching off back and forth between our top 10s and our graphics. But there we go. There is Kenny White's top 10. What week are we going into? Week 13?
Week 13.
In the NFL.
Week 13 NFL. It gets me confused because college is week 14.
Yes. Agreed. It would be nice if it was
And then
the
if
same.
you do a contest, though, it's the same because most contests start like the last man standing for stations. They start their college contest the same week as the NFL, which is very smart.
Yes.
Because you can get many more people signed up that extra week because everyone's coming in to sign up for the NFL. So, I can sign up for college? Yeah, I'll do it. So it's the same week. It's week 13. They have 2 left, I've heard.
That is a perfect segue. Let's bring in our guest so we can find out about the contest. Do we need to take a 1 minute break so we can get set up? We're going to take a 1 minute break. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. This is Sports by the Book.
South Point Casino has plenty of attractions for the whole family. Catch a movie. Our 16-screen movie theater includes 2 XD Extreme screens for the ultimate in viewing, sound, and luxury. After the show, treat the family to a variety of treats at our old-fashioned ice cream parlor, Kate's Corner. We scoop up a variety of creamy concoctions, including smoothies, hand-dipped cones, milkshakes, malts, sodas, and sundaes. At Kate's, there's something for everyone. And if you've still got time to spare, our bowling center might be right up your alley. Voted Best of Las Vegas, it's a great place for friends and family fun. 64 lanes, a pro shop, snack bar, and arcade. And while the kids are bowling, you can play slots and sip on a drink in the Alley Cat Lounge while overlooking the lanes. For our more serious and professional bowlers, the South Point is also home to a separate tournament bowling plaza.
Welcome back, everybody. Sports by the Book. We are live from the South Point Hotel and Casino. Get down here. Make sure you get in your contest plays for this weekend, Rivalry Week, College Rivalry Jackpot Parlay Card. Easy for me to say. $5. Just have to pick the winner. Guaranteed $25,000. You don't need a proxy for this one. Just come down here, put in as many as you want. But if you do need a proxy, we know the best one in town, and that is Vegas Maddie joining us now. How are you doing, Maddie?
Doing pretty good, yeah. I know there's one gentleman who wishes he had a proxy in the Circus Survivor contest.
Oh, boy.
That's a very, very rough story, but, I mean, it happens. There's a human element to these contests, and if you're not able to get your picks in, you can suffer the consequences, unfortunately, and I think that story is still under wraps. But for people who don't know, there was a gentleman who did not get his Survivor pick in for the Circus Survivor contest and was eliminated, so just based on not putting the pick in. So that's a huge missed opportunity.
What was the implied value?
I think at the time it was about 150,000. So now it's up to 256 or somewhere around there. So a lot of people got knocked out.
150,000. Hope everything's okay. I mean,
yeah, exactly. I mean, from what I had heard, it was a family emergency type thing, a local in town. So I mean, that's the thing. Even locals. I mean, you guys know locals. Locals can use proxies too, and it helps to. You don't have to run around town at the last minute to get your picks in. You could just use us to get them in. And Thanksgiving is our busiest week of the year, so we got games pretty much every day, starting Thursday, I guess. So Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So we'll be in the books, spend some of the holidays. We get Thursday off, fortunately, but you got games every day of the week, pretty much.
And for this week in that Survivor contest, now they have to pick a game, either one of the 3 on Thursday or the one on Friday, right?
Yeah, so it's kind of called 13A, and then you have to clear that, and then you have to turn around and pick a game on Sunday or Monday to get through. So this is where you run through the gauntlet of having to just survive. It's truly the Survivor contest at this point. I mean, we lost a bunch of guys. Unfortunately, with the Commanders, that way that game ended was ridiculous. I was getting excited that they had scored the touchdown, then to miss a second extra point, and then give up 2 special teams touch. I don't know. Crazy stuff happens at this point, and I think the guy who didn't turn his pick in Survivor Atlas had gone out and tried to predict who he might have taken, and I guess like he didn't have the Commanders or the Dolphins, so he probably would have had the Texans, and they lost. So I mean, he might have gone out anyway, but still, it's just it's a tough thing. A lot of people, even with the Pick 5 contest, like the Circa Million and the Super Contest, you get very tempted to take those Thanksgiving Day games. It's almost like a degenerate paradise. You know, you want to have some kind of action on these games, and I would just warn our clients out there not to get too crazy with these, because you are giving up, as you guys know, like days of information for the games that happen Saturday, Sunday, and college games on Saturday and the NFL games on Sunday. We had one year where we had a guy, I think it was in the top 10 of the Super Contest, going into Thanksgiving, and he took all 3 Thanksgiving games, went 0-3 on those, and I think he ended up going 0-5 for the week, and he never recovered. He was done. You know, he just started snowballing out of control and didn't even place in the contest. So I know you want to have action on these games, but just be careful not to go too crazy with them.
Yeah, you know, it's a different day because they're not used to playing.
Right.
It's
short
a holiday
weeks.
day. It's a short week.
And there's some injuries too.
Anything can happen. I mean, I found that out in women's college basketball. To begin the season, there was some girls that traveled. Some of the girls' teams traveled all over the country. And one, I think it was in France. They were in France, South Carolina, one of the best teams in the country. They didn't even show up. They won the game, but they were like a 25-point favorite and won by 8 or 10.
Yeah.
And that happened to USC. In the same tournament. There was another team that just went to Hawaii, didn't play well. Those are different type of games. You don't know where those teams' heads are at. So when you're on Thanksgiving Day, you don't know if they're well prepared enough.
Yeah, a lot of them just want to get in and get out with a win. I mean, you got even the Bears. I mean, you think they're going to be one of the big fades this week. I mean, they lost a bunch in a row, but some of these are really close games, and I mean, they're 10.5 point underdogs. I mean, I could see them covering the spread in that one. Survivor pick a little bit more big of a long shot there. I think most people are going to either take the Lions or the Chiefs playing the Raiders on Black Friday. But I mean, you saw what happened with the Lions on Thanksgiving last year, right?
Yes,
they blew it, and I mean, I'm not going to say they're going to lose to the Bears, but you know, it's just they can give them a better game than you think, and just anything can happen. If you watched last week, you know anything can happen in some of these games, even for the teams at home.
Well, and one thing is that with the holidays, and I've been telling you, and we need to go back and actually look, but after watching that Lions-Packers game last week and then watching some of these home teams, it's almost like they have so many obligations, right? They still have these holidays and their families.
Yep.
And if the team's on the road, it's a business trip. They're out away.
Well, I think the Steelers-Browns game is a perfect example too. Like what happened, they just wanted to go in, get a win, and get out of there, and they ran into kind of a buzzsaw. Jameis Winston was motivated, and that was an ugly game, but the weather was bad. You just never know what can happen. I mean, the Lions are a different situation. They're at home, and they're indoors. They don't have to worry about it. But the Bears offensively have been playing good. It's their defense that's been the problem the last couple of weeks, giving up a lot of points, and so we'll see what happens. The same with the Chiefs. I mean, I don't expect the Raiders to really score much of anything with Aiden O'Connell coming back or whatever. But I mean, the Chiefs' defense was looking like one of the best units in the NFL, and they gave up 30 points to the Bills, and then 27 or whatever it was to the Panthers of all teams. So you just never know what can happen in these games. But it's going to be exciting nonetheless. And we have a fantasy football battle this weekend.
Yes, we do. And that league has been a lot of fun. I'm glad that I jumped in those full-time fantasy. It's fun with the bidding on your players and everything.
Yeah, I'm like out of all my my free agent money. I think I blew it like last week, and which is okay. I started out in my own league, the Beat Vegas Maddie League. I started out 1-5. I've won 6 in a row. So I'm now in a 4-way tie for third place, but I have to beat you this week.
Great.
She's kicking ass in this league, and yeah, she's playing me. I know some other guys are rooting for me to knock her off this week. My buddy Jeremy beat you a couple weeks ago. He scored like over 200 points. That's what it takes to beat you. So I'm going to need a miracle, but I'm hoping to stay alive in that one. But it's been a lot of fun. I mean, just all the crazy stuff that happens. I lost one game by less than a half a point, and then won one by half a point, and you just see all the way all the scoring goes, and it's been a lot of fun. But we should place a friendly wager on that one.
Okay,
maybe.
Yeah, we can. It is funny. That's fantasy football though, right? Because in the women's league, I'm not doing so
really?
good,
Is that
and
right?
it's the same thing. I'll lose to somebody, and I could have beat like 6 other people, and it's the matchups that you get every week.
Well, Saquon saved you this week. That last 70-yard touchdown when I was following the scores, and boom, you're losing, and then you went ahead of the guy at the end and won by like 9 points or whatever it was.
Wow.
But that was that's a huge score. It's like a 16 point, whatever it is, like the yardage and figuring the score. Like, I needed it I'm in another league, like a higher stakes league through full-time fantasy, and I needed Quentin Johnston to do something yesterday, right? It was me going head to head against Dicker, the Chargers kicker. And I was like, I got a shot. I'm only down by 2 points. And then he throws up the goose egg for me. He has 4 drops. So, but I'm 9-3 in that league, and so I'm doing much better in that one. But still, it's like, I don't know, just the crazy stuff. You have guys in your lineup, and that was the bye Mageddon with all the 6 teams on bye week. So now everyone this week, no buys, so everyone's going to be at full strength and no excuses. So it'll be fun to see what happens.
Can you tell me? Do you know how do the playoffs actually work for this? Because it's just the top of.
Yeah, so the top 4 teams, I had to read through it last night to see if I still had a chance. So it's basically the teams with the 3 best records go on to like a championship round starting in, I think it's week 15. And then the 4th team is the team with the 4th amount of points that's not one of the top 3. So you could have the 4th best record, but they'll take the team with the fourth most points, which puts me at a disadvantage because the 4 teams that are tied for third place right now, I have the lowest points. So I got a lot of work to do the next couple of weeks to try to get in there. But and then it's kind of a completely different contest. But you'll get money for finishing first standings and then first in points. So you're going to probably double up on that. So which is nice. And then there's a whole new ball game that lasts 3 weeks to see what happens.
Yes. Okay. And then it's really interesting.
Yeah. It's a crapshoot. Yeah.
Full time.
But great job this year.
Thank you, Vinny. Yep. Thank you for including us in that. It's been a lot of fun. Any other contest news for us? Did you check out Chris Andrews' new contest first time this year?
No, I did not.
So college football for the rivalry week, just like how they do the first week of NFL, where you just pick the winner, no point spread, and then the best winner takes all. Unless there's 14-1, there's a few people that go 14-1. They'll tie and split it up. So
that's a great
guaranteed
idea.
$25,000. Yeah, for college now.
That's awesome.
Do you need a proxy?
Yeah. Just somebody.
So can you put a few
with tons of those cards in there? Yeah. Now I'm going to get a bunch of calls. Thanks, guys. No, no, but that's really cool. That's a great idea. I mean, the Golden Nugget contest is. Yeah, I think you're pretty high up in there for that too. No.
Yeah.
Still hanging in the top 20.
I had 2. This past week was good, 5-2. So hopefully I bump back up. He went 7-0, so he's trying to make. Goodness. He's trying to
long
catch up
time
to
coming.
Me now.
That's good.
Long time. Yeah.
Jump up there. Yeah.
It's been a long year.
Yeah. Well, you never know what can happen.
You keep working.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see what happens. Yeah. Super contest. Well, it's a big week for the Circa Million too. It's the last week of the quarter. So it. We've got some guys in the running. It's $150,000 to. The winner of the quarter, but they pay out the top 5 for the quarters. I actually just celebrated the Peppermill Kids. One of my clients, they finished tied for second the last quarter, so quarter number 2. So they were hanging out the Westgate and got to celebrate with them on Sunday, watching some games, which was fun. So those guys placed 5th in the Circa Million, I think, 2 or 3 years ago, so they know what they're doing. They're pretty. They had a pretty good run, and then I think they were in like top 20 or 30 for the Circa Million, and they went 0-5. So, but the good thing is, with those quarters, you can do terrible, and then you're still in the running for something. But it's pretty fierce, the competition. I think for this quarter, there's guys 16-3-1. I think is the leader, and then some 16 and. Maybe a 17-3 leading. I can't remember, but one more quarter to go. It's a 5-week quarter, so it's a lot of money on the line.
The last quarter to go.
That's what we need.
And it's Tony, right? That's your partner?
Yep, Tony. Yep, she's. I don't know how she's doing in her fantasy football league with you guys, but I think she kind of dialed out pretty early
that
on.
One I kind of did too. I put all my focus.
Yeah, you got to put your focus on what you're doing good and just try to ride that out. But,
yes.
Yep.
But I just want to say I appreciate you guys so much, and with Golden Nugget, you guys have been helping us out. And you guys are on top of it. You send out the sheet every week so early on, and so if you need a proxy, really, these guys are the
we're
best
happy to help even locals that are listening. Like I said, there's unforeseen circumstances that happen all the time, and you just never know what's going to happen. So to have somebody that you can just text or give a call, and I think even a few years ago, Paulie Howard needed to get some picks in at the Westgate, and he's usually just would go down there, and he just texted me last second.
Yeah.
I was able to put him in for him. So it happens. I mean, you try to help people out when you can. And I mean, that's what we're here for.
Well, I mean, we do this for a living, right? We're talking about sports every day. And occasionally every week we call each other at 3:30. We're like, hey, the Circa Millions are due at 4:00. One of us,
4 o'clock. I said 4. I thought it was 5.
Yeah. One of us tends to forget.
Get 'em in.
So you need that reminder. You need somebody to have your back.
I was 3:58 when I put my picks in that week.
He was doing a show. He was live.
Yeah,
I called him.
I mean, it happens. Thank God you got him in. But yeah, I mean, we've had people who signed up like at the last second and had trouble getting their picks in because they depended on the app, and they were having trouble getting the location feature to work. And man, by the seat of their pants,
I was fortunate.
Lucky. But footballcontest.com is our website. So we've got information on all of the big Las Vegas football contests. So you can already start looking at next year. I mean, some guys are done with this season and already looking forward to a new slate next year. But the good thing about the Circa Million and even the Super Contest with the 3, 6, 9 week contest is that you still have something to play for no matter how bad you're doing. You get a do-over every 3, 6, 9 weeks or whatever. We're in the second half of the Super Contest already. But 3 weeks, 6 weeks, there's a lot of opportunities to win money.
So footballcontest.com. Any socials they can follow
at
you
Football
on too?
Contest is our Twitter account, and we're just we're already starting to think about next season and different ways we can market and get our name out there. And we appreciate all the support we've gotten from you guys this season. Yeah,
we love having you and giving us those updates. We appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Somebody asked for your social as well, and Twitter is
it's at 53. Oh, not that social.
Your social media handle.
Please don't give that out over there.
Okay, at
They're
KYD
awake
Sports.
behind the glass.
Yes, they are.
But don't forget the board.
Okay, you're the board. But what about your Twitter handle first?
What?
Twitter.
It's
X. At KYD Sports.
Yeah. KYD
Vegas.
You don't even know. I don't even know. Glenn Ryan's here today.
Okay, the board is the most important. Here we go. Yeah. These are the plays of the day. We're going to zoom in.
I got two under totals in the NBA tournament tonight. And then I'm taking the 4.5 with the Houston Rockets. I love the way the Rockets are playing. So it's a double play in the Rocket game. Under in that Rocket game, under in the Milwaukee-Miami game, under 223. So there you go. 3 plays from me today.
Okay, mine.
On 11-2 run, Maddie.
Woo!
Yes, it has been very good. You didn't go for either of the Mac.
No, I did not.
That's no Maction. No
two ugly dogs.
Yeah.
2 ugly dogs. Don't just bet them and don't even watch it.
Which total do we like better? I'm going to go with your Rockets total under as well. Rockets under 222. So we're doubling up on that one play. But I have 2. There's only 2 NHL games, but I do like the Boston Bruins and how they are playing. Swayman been very good. Just minus 110 here against the Vancouver Canucks. I like over in that second game, Utah and Montreal. I made that game close to 7. It is just 6. And then we're going with that Rockets NBA game under 220. Important game for both of them there. So
third string goalie for Utah tonight.
Third string goalie. Yes.
Yep. Okay.
Jackson. That's it for us for today. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. here on Sports by the Book. We really appreciate everybody jumping in the chat. We've got a lot more going on in there. Again, if you requested any games, we will get to those tomorrow. Thank you for everybody behind the scenes. A lot of people in there, Vince and company, really keeping up with the chat, answering questions for us. Roger Long, hello as well. I think you are new since I've given all the shout outs. And yeah, Bob had asked for our Twitter handles as well, but we always have those on our lower third. So for Kenny White, I'm Alex White. Thank you, Ryan and Andrew, for everything behind the glass. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. here on Sports by the Book.